In this video, I want to talk about the crucial role of faith in spirituality. Now, faith used to be a word I was quite allergic about. I had a really negative impression of what it means. And a big reason for this is probably that I was raised Christian. And for me, the word faith had this association of being forced to believe in something that you are not really convinced of, that doesn't make sense to you. And so for a long time, my impression of having faith meant that you were just being irrational, that you're believing in something that you shouldn't believe in, and even more so, that you might be forced to believe in it. And when I first encountered spirituality through the form of meditation, what I really loved about it was that it didn't require any faith on my part. It's not like I had to believe these claims which were being made about the nature of consciousness and the benefits of meditation. I could just experience it for myself. And there was something really powerful about that. There was something really compelling for me about the fact that I myself could awaken to my true nature. So the question, of course, then arises is, well, what do we need faith for? It's clearly not necessary if I can just look and see for myself. Well, that's true, of course. But the thing is that in order to get started, it's just the case that we need something that is maybe even a bit irrational. Because when we first start out, we just don't know whether this is really going to be useful for us. This will really provide the freedom and the peace we are looking for. And what I notice a lot in talking to people is that there's almost this belief, this kind of irrational faith that there is something very important there, which we can't really explain. And it's more than just wishful thinking. It's a sort of deeper conviction, a background faith that this really has something profound to teach us about the nature of existence. And if we didn't have this sort of faith, then we would probably just be so skeptical that we would never even get started with practicing anything. We wouldn't start meditating. We wouldn't start exploring the nature of our experience in this way. And the beautiful thing is, of course, that sooner rather than later, we will just directly see the consequences of our engagement with spirituality. We will see if it has an effect on us, and we will see whether that matters to us. So then the question arises of whether we still need faith. I mean, maybe we needed it to get started, but then once we have already engaged in the practice, maybe we can just drop it. And to some extent, that might be true, but it just happens to be the case that no path of spirituality is completely smooth and without challenges. It's rather the case that we will encounter many aspects of our mind and our being which might be very challenging to us. We might not know how to engage with them, how to resolve them. And so this voice of doubt and fear can really be dominant in those instances where we feel like we don't know what we are doing. Maybe even in some cases, this voice can be so strong for us that we just drop the practice altogether because we find that our spiritual practice is somehow just not doing the job. It's not sufficient in addressing all the suffering or the challenges which we are experiencing. And this again is where I found that a kind of faith is useful. A faith in that our continued exploration, our continued recognition of our true nature has the power to resolve the suffering. This sort of deeper conviction can really carry us forward. Now, of course, at this point, this faith might not seem as irrational anymore, because we might have already seen that our spiritual practice was effective in the past. But nevertheless, there can be those moments of seeming darkness and contractedness, of identification which seems so sticky, so powerful that we seemingly can't drop it. And in those instances, I found that a healthy dose of faith in our true nature, in the essence of our being, can be quite powerful. Maybe that's just the thing that's needed on a more relative level to stay with it. It's always easy to say that you don't need faith when everything is going well for you, when it seems so clear to you what the nature, what the reality of your experience really is. But inevitably, you will run into situations which will very much make it seem like you are back in this limited, contracted identification. And then faith can be so powerful in addressing that, in returning to what you really are, and ultimately in finding this peace you are after. If anything about this remains unclear and you would like some direct guidance on this topic or anything else really, you can contact me through the website, which is linked in my description. Other than that, you can just subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with my latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you right here next time.